Now for the second part of this b of t, that is for this -1, if we multiply this pn sequence, then what we will get? This is minus, this is also minus, so -1 will get +1. Similarly over here -1 will get again +1. Here it is continuous 3 ones, positive ones, multiplied by -1, that will give you 3 negative pulses, successive negative pulses. And again we have over here 0, that is represented by minus, it is again 1. And then we have 1, that is positive 1 multiplied by -1, so it will give you -1. So if you see, if you multiply this particular signal, that is if you multiply the c of t with positive 1 of b of t, you will get the same signal. And if we multiply the pn sequence with the negative value, that is -1 of b of t, then we will get the signal that is reversed signal. If you see this particular signal, it is the replica of this, that is the mirror image of the c of t over here. Here we have -1, here we have +1, here we have +1, here we have -1, here we have continuous 3 ones, here we have continuous 3 -1s. So it will be it is basically reversed.
Go.
So this is the final waveform for the m of t, which is obtained by multiplying b of t with c of t. Okay, if the value of b of t +1, then we will get the same value of the c of t, and if the value of b of t -1, then we will get the reverse version of the c of t, as shown in this diagram. Okay. Now we will see the relation between bandwidth of the signal that is to be transmitted and the original signal and the spread rate signal. So if we consider over here, if we consider this, we will redraw this diagram. First of all, we have the pn sequence as 0 0, then 1 then 0 and then 1. So we'll draw the pn sequence over here. So it is like this: 0, then 1 then 0 and then 1. And if we draw the b of t over here, so b of t, let it be +1 throughout this pn sequence likewise. Now this is 1 bit period, that is called as chip duration. This particular duration, it is referred as TC, that is called as chip duration, and the bit duration of the signal that is to be transmitted, it is denoted by TB. So if we talk about the bandwidth of the signal that is to be transmitted, signal that is to be transmitted, it is given as BW is equal to B is equal to 1 by TB. 1 by TB. Similarly, if we see this spread rate signal over here, if we see this spread rate signal, that is m of t over here, then this period is called as TC, that is chip duration. So after spreading, TB is changed to TC, and therefore if we talk about the bandwidth, that is of the spread rate signal, then it is denoted by B dash. It is given by 1 by TC. So 1 by TC is nothing but it is the bandwidth of spread rate signal. And this one is the bandwidth of original signal. So if you compare the bandwidth, if we talk about this bandwidth, that is B, which is given by 1 by TB, if we increase the value of TB, अगर हम लोग TB को बढ़ाते हैं, if we increase the TB, then bandwidth, that is B, will decrease. Similarly, if we talk about the bandwidth of the spreaded signal, that is B dash, which is equal to 1 by TC, then if we decrease the value of TC, then bandwidth increases. And it is evident that if we compare TB and TC, अगर हम लोग TB and TBC को कंपेयर करते हैं, if we compare TB and TC, definitely TC is less than TB, and therefore the bandwidth, that is B dash, will be always greater than bandwidth, that is B. In short, we can say that we know the relation that TB is equal to N into TC. We know the relation, that is TB is equal to N into TC, where N is Pn sequence length. Okay, and if we talk about N, then we'll get TB by TC. We'll get TB by TC. This can also be written as 1 upon TC divided by 1 upon TB. And we know that 1 upon TC is nothing but it is the bandwidth of the spreaded signal. It is the bandwidth of the spreaded signal. And 1 by TB is nothing but it is the bandwidth of unspreaded signal. Bandwidth of spreaded signal and bandwidth of unspreaded signal. This ratio of 1 by TC by 1 by TB is also called as processing gain. It is also called as processing gain, referred by PG. So we can in short we can say that PG, that is processing gain, is equal to N is equal to 1 by TC upon 1 by TB, which can also be written as TB by TC. So we'll, for simplicity, we'll write it as PG, that is processing gain, is equal to N is equal to TB by TC. If we rewrite this equation, that is N is equal to 1 by TC by 1 by TB, we can write this as B dash, that is the bandwidth of the spreaded signal, and this is the bandwidth of the unspreaded signal, that is B. We can write over here B dash is equal to N into B. Okay. So if I want to increase the bandwidth, that is B dash, of the spreaded signal, then I need to increase the value of N. To increase B dash, I need to increase the value of N, that is Pn sequence length. Because B is fixed. B is fixed. So this is another justification that is another justification for the increased value of n, as we had earlier discussion that we have to increase the length n earlier while discussing the first problem. If we increase the length n, that will be advantageous for us, because if we increase the length n, that will cater the maximum number of users. And here also, if we consider over here the increased value of n, then the bandwidth of the spreaded signal will also get increased. Well, see the analytical part of the spread spectrum signal. We have considered the signal that is to be transmitted as B of t. We then multiplied it with the C of t in order to spread the signal, and the spreaded signal is denoted by M of t. Okay, now this will happen at the transmitter side, that is at Tx. Then this M of t will go through the channel where it is it will get added with the jamming signal, or say interference signal. So this M, the input to this channel will be M of t. The signal that will be interfere with this M of t, if it is represented by I of t, then the resultant value, that is denoted by R of t, will be M of t plus I of t. So if we write the equations over here, R of t is nothing but it is M of t plus I of t, and we know that M of t over here is, it is M of t is equal to B of t into C of t. So if we put the value of M of t over here, we will get B of t into C of t plus I of t. This is the value of R of t. Okay, getting? Where this is nothing but this is jamming or interference signal. And this is the spreaded signal. Now, if we consider at the receiving end, the input to the transmitter, receiver will be R of t, and we know that we had a discussion earlier also that whatever the PN sequence that is used at the transmitter, the same PN sequence we have to use at receiver in order to recover the original signal. So at the receiving end, we have to multiply the received signal with the same PN sequence that was employed at the transmitter. So we are using over here C of t in order to multiply with the received signal. Okay, and this received signal is then represented by Z of t. So, and then it is given to a low pass filter which will gives us back the original signal, that is D of t. Okay, sorry, B of t. Now here we have assumed that z of t is equal to r of t into c of t. Z of t is equal to r of t into c of t. And what is the value of r of t? From this equation we can write this z of t is equal to r of t, which will be replaced by this one, that is b of t into c of t plus I of t. This is the value of r of t, and which is again multiplied by c of t. If we multiply this equation, we will get b of t into c square of t plus I of t into c of t. And we know that while discussing the autocorrelation property, we came to know that r of d, that is d equal to 0, we will get the value of 1. And if we see over here, it comes out to be c square n. While discussing the autocorrelation property, the value of autocorrelation at d equal to 0, it recedes to c square n, and that gives us the value that is equal to 1. And this is the important property that is employed over here. So we know that according to the autocorrelation property, c square of t will reduce to 1, and therefore this z of t will now become b of t. This value is multiplied by 1, since the c square t is equal to 1 as per the autocorrelation property, plus this is I of t into c of t. When we pass this through LPF, this second term will be rejected. This second term will be rejected by the low pass filter, and we will get z of t is equal to b of t at the output of the low pass filter, and this is nothing but the original signal, that is recovered signal. Now if we consider the frequency domain analysis, then b of t, it is represented like this, which is b of f. If we take the c of t, we denote this as wideband signal. This is narrow band signal. Okay. If we draw this frequency spectrum for b of t, and if we draw the spectrum for m of t, rather c of t, because when we multiply c of t with the b of t, we will get the m of t, where c of t is basically a wideband signal. If you consider over here, this c of t is nothing but it is wideband signal. So if we multiplied any wideband signal with the narrowband signal, the resultant will become a wideband signal. So c of t was wideband signal, and the spectrum for that one will be c of f, like this. And when these two signals get multiplied, the value that we will get, that is m of t, will become like this. That is, this is narrowband signal. When multiplied by c of t, that is wideband signal, the resultant, that is the spreaded signal, will be having the spectrum like this. This is denoted by m of f. When this m of f is received at the receiving end, now when this m of f or m of t transmits through channel or progresses through channel, then it gets added with the interference or the jamming signal, and the resultant signal that will get again over here, this is I of t, that is I of f, the spectrum of the jamming or the interference signal. It will get added with this m of t, and therefore the signal that will be available at the receiving end will look like this. It will be like this. Not exactly like this, but basically it will be like this. It will have a certain, say, low amplitude. So this is the spectrum of received signal. Here this is the spreaded signal. Spreaded signal. This is the jamming or say interference signal. And the overall spectrum of this Z of t will be like this, that is Z of f. You know, the spectrum that is Z of f was like this. This is Z of f. Now at the receiving end, when we multiply this particular spectrum, when we multiplied this again with the Pn sequence, that is C of t, then this particular signal will get spreaded. This will get spreaded and this will get despreaded. So after multiplication by Pn sequence at the receiving end, this spectrum will now be like this. Now this is the despreaded signal. And this is the spreaded signal. And this spreaded signal is nothing but it is basically a I of t. And this despreaded signal is nothing but this is B of t. So we have recovered the original signal as it is at the receiving end by multiplying the same Pn sequence with the received signal at the receiving end. Now here, if we see this particular spectrum of the I of t, this is the Pn sequence length, that is n, and if we increase this Pn sequence length further, the amplitude or the signal or the nature of the signal will be flattened. It means that if we go on increasing the value of n, it becomes more and more flat. It becomes more and more flat. Likewise, here the amplitude is very less, and if we pass this signal through LPF, then most of the portion of this signal that is to be recovered is covered by the LPF, that is low pass filter, recovering the original signal back. From this frequency domain analysis, we can conclude that if we increase the value of increase the value of n, that is pn sequence length, it will help in reconstruction oblique recovery of original signal properly. Moreover, increased value of n will ensure more number of users can be accommodated, thereby boosting the multiple access capability feature of the spread spectrum modulation technique.